Okay, we are live. What's going out there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS, and I've got my man with the plan here, Keeden. And this is the man that braved season 5. This is his review / full reaction and disclosure of season 5. What's going on, Keeden?
Not much is going on. How y'all doing out there? So yeah, I've been making my way through this. I've been doing this simultaneously while in grad school. So I've been trying to catch up. I'm still trying to catch up and make it to be able to watch the season 6 finale with everybody. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it because, like I said, my semester just started, but I'm doing what I can. It's the first week of classes, so a lot of it is syllabuses and a whole bunch of stuff, and so I'm doing what I can. But shit went down in season 5. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. It was miserable. I'm not even gonna front. Like, season 5 was not happy. There was a lot of stuff happened in season 5 that just, like, absolute gut wrenching. Like, it was like the creators of the show, they wanted to see what would make you, like, break. What would make you break? Like, that's how it felt. But first thing, I love all the messages and good vibes I've been getting from my season 5 reactions that were posted. I've been loving that. And I've been having a lot of fun getting feedback in between people that have been enjoying the vids, and so keep it up, and I'm glad you've been enjoying it. But yeah, season 5 it felt different from all the other seasons because at the end of it, it wasn't one of those things where I felt like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next. It was just miserable and heartbreaking. It kind of reminded me of like Walking Dead when they knocked off like Beth and Tyrese in back-to-back episodes. I was just like, wow, this is just miserable. Why do I do this to myself? Like, that's how I felt.
Yeah. So this is one thing that I'm gonna try to get to that moment real quick. So I'm gonna show you guys so you can kind of see it. Because Keeden, I was lucky and fortunate enough to actually be with Keeden when he reacted to a couple of the last episodes of season 5, and it was a lot for him. Like it was really a lot for him. He had a whole support system there. He had me. He had some other people there. He had his wife there. But
Whiskey was there. We got to say that Whiskey was there. That made me so much more. I watched the reviews after you posted them.
So this picture right here is the very end of the last episode. This is Keeden's immediate reaction, but then following that, it was just anger, betrayal, and heartbreak.
Nothing but rage. Nothing but absolute rage. And like I said, oh my gosh, I normally try and like not drink anything while I'm watching Game of Thrones because I want to take it in. I was just, it was a very exciting weekend, and those last 3 episodes, Lord, wow, like it was just absolutely insane and madness and just ridiculousness. Like and it hit the ground running in season 5. It really did.
Yeah,
it really did. And so, like, I mean, all the seasons do that. Like, Game of Thrones isn't one of those shows where it's like, oh, this is how much time has passed. It's like, no, we're gonna pick up right where we left off. Like, if we gave you a break, it might be a month later, but it's not a long time. It's not a long time at all.
Yeah. So I've seen you happy. I've seen you sad. I've seen you borderline depressed. I've seen you excited. But let's go ahead and break down season 5. What was your immediate thoughts of the beginning of it, and then what did it slowly start doing to you? I actually labeled our discussion as the breaker of hearts, That is the that's what I labeled this as. So
that's good. Well, I tell you, so it started off exactly where I wanted it to. Like Scrooge McUnderwood, Tywin, he's dead. Cersei's like, how are we going to keep everything together? And at the same time, they backtrack and they're like, hey, by the way, now that the mountain has crushed a Dorne prince's head, our daughter is in Dorne. And that makes me uncomfortable. And so Jaime's like, okay, me and Bronn, we're going to take off to get her. And so right off the bat, I was like, okay, they're bringing Bronn back into the mix. That makes me feel good. And they're headed off to go get her. And then all the little petty dramas going down in King's Landing. Because as soon as Marjorie finishes crying her crocodile tears, she pounces on Joffrey's brother. Because she's like, yo, I'm still going to be a queen. Look at this. Look at all of this. I'm still going to be a queen. And that's just how it goes. And Cersei is like, okay, I don't like this. I don't like that my daughter is in Dorne because that witch prophesied and said all my kids were going to die. So that makes me scared because now I got one left. And so she ends up going to, High Sparrow. I call him Elliot Carver because, my God, I've watched Tomorrow Never Dies so many times as a kid that every time I see him, I'm like, oh, snap, Elliot Carver, tomorrow's news today. Let's do it. Like every single time I see him. And so she goes to him, but I mean, this is a cult we're talking about. You can't count on a cult. And so he's got this like cult of like insane conservatives. So him and his Westboro squad go and round up the Tyrell siblings because one of them is gay and the other one is like, I'm not going to snitch on my brother for being gay. So they take both of them. And then all along, one of the people in the Westboro squad is like, hey, by the way, I used to smash Cersei. I'm her cousin. And she used to smash her brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then they snatch up Cersei too. Mm-hmm. And so now Cersei and all the Tyrells are in church jail. And it's like, what in the hell is going on right now? And all along, I'm like, wow, if only we could count on a king. But we have Tommen. And Tommen is he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Like, he really is. But he doesn't have the spine to be king.
Yeah.
Like, Tommen's that kid that got really infatuated with, like, Bear in the Big Blue House. And he just, like, stuck with it. And so he's just doing this, like, Gullah Gullah Island, like, Little Bear, Nick Jr.-esque type thing. Like, he can't go. This is not the man that goes to war. He's the one that, like, does his best, and he's kind, and he gets gold stars every day for being good, but he's not going to win a tug of war contest against a cult.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't really do anything. He has no spine. And so by the end of that, and this jumps forward later on in the episode, but timeline wise, you have to go by location because so much stuff went down. Yeah. Cersei is they make her walk through the street like absolutely naked. Shame. And shame. Yeah, there's this evil ass nun. There's this evil ass nun like walking behind her with a bell. Like, shame. Like, I would not. I tell you, like, the only time I would do that to someone is if I was like drunk and saw like a close friend walking out of a Twilight marathon. Like, that would be me behind them. Like, shame, shame, shame. There's so many vampire movies. Shame, shame, shame. Like, you should do better. Shame, shame, shame. Like, that would be me. Like, I would catch him. I'd be like, oh, you were at that Twilight marathon. Shame. Like, it was so bad, and it was so hard to watch because you never feel bad for anything that happens to the Lannisters. It's outside of Tyrion, you never feel bad for them because they're such horrible people.
Yeah.
Like Cersei and Jaime, they're such horrible people. So you see the kids dying and you're like, I feel no shame because they're just horrible people. Like, oh, Joffrey, wow. Did you see my reaction? Like, I was so hyped. I put on DMX after Joffrey died. I was hyped. It was so good to me. Like, they're so horrible. But for the very first time, I felt bad for Cersei because she's walking through the streets completely naked. People are throwing like literally shit on her body while she walks through the street, and I felt for her so bad. And at the same time, what dawned in my head when watching it was a Lannister always pays their debts. You know, like this is a person that grew up sleeping with her brother, getting people killed, backstabbing, murdering. Like, these are terrible people. And this is the result. And it made me go back because I think the Lannisters' house words are "hear me roar," but the unofficial Lannister words are Lannisters always pay their debts. And it's like after everything that's happened, this is happening to her. Jaime lost a hand. She's marching through the streets naked. Lannisters pay their debts no matter the price. And I just thought it was interesting the way this happened because that's what I thought when all of that went down.
Yeah. Nah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and so it was absolutely crazy. Now, a moment that actually made me sick to my stomach, and I actually stopped watching the show for a second. We're going to go north. We're going to go to Winterfell.
Oh, Lord.
And Littlefinger is married off Sansa to Ramsay Bolton of all people, like an absolute monster.
Yeah.
An absolute monster of a human being. And Ramsay does what Ramsay does, and I was really shocked that they depicted this. Ramsay Bolton raped Sansa.
Yeah.
And it made like I cut it off. I don't even know if I like as soon as the credits hit, I cut it off and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I really couldn't believe that they took it that far on the show. Like, you heard her crying. Like, it was as brutal as I feel like they could legally do.
Yeah.
As they could legally do. Like, it was brutal. Like, Sansa has gone through so much. And at the beginning, you don't feel sorry for her. But at this point, it's like, wow, give the girl a break. And the only solace that Sansa Stark got in this season, at this point, is that, oh, by the way, Reek, Theon Greyjoy, she finds out that her brothers might not be dead.
Yeah.
They might not be. Like, we know that they're alive so far, but that doesn't make me feel any better because I'm like, wow, there's been a couple seasons since a Stark got killed. Like, it might be time. So I'm paranoid secretly because I'm like, damn it, the nicest family on the block, they're always losing people.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, Sansa just has no luck because even like Brienne and Podrick are out to find her, and like she puts up the candlelight, they miss that. Like, all kinds of stuff is going on in the north, like because if you go a little bit further at the Wall, well, first, before I go to the Wall, I just want to say, like, that was one of the darkest moments I've ever seen in Game of Thrones. Like Sansa Stark getting raped. I want to say it was episode 6 of season 5. I think so. I'm not 100%. I could be wrong on that. I think it was episode 6, but like I stopped watching for a couple days after that because I was disgusted. I was like, this is horrible. This is horrible. And I'm a couple episodes into season 6 now. But like, so I started back watching it. But that's still like that hits hard. Like that was rough. That was sickening.
Yeah, like it was an emotional roller coaster because you're sitting there watching and witnessing it, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like I legit, after I finished watching it, I was like, I can't. Like I need like a couple days. You're stronger than me because I couldn't. Like I was like, I don't.
Well, you watched it live, right? So you literally had a week between, right?
Nah, so like I didn't see it live. I saw it.
Oh, that's right. Because
I played caught up. Yeah,
that's
I played catch up. Like you're doing right now. That's what I did literally a year ago. And like I was sitting there, I was like, man, I gotta keep going. But I was like, man, forget this. Like I need a moment because that's
yeah. Yeah, and so I'll come back to her in a moment because something happens, Key, and it brings you back to Winterfell. So we go north to the Wall, and last we saw Stannis Baratheon captured Mance Rayder and a couple of the wildlings, and Mance is like, bow down. Well, not Mance. Stannis is like, bow down or otherwise you're gonna die. And Mance Rayder's like, that's not what wildlings do. That's not how we roll. We're not going to do this. Jon Snow is Jon Snow, just literally being the nicest, most awesome person on the planet. Like I always like Jon Snow. I can't help but absolutely love him, even though like he's not a dynamic character. He's a single track character surrounded by dynamic characters. So it makes him the one that glows in the room.
Yeah.
You know, like he's the one, he's like, hey, look, this is Westeros, and I'm the one guy with an absolute conscience. Mm-hmm. I've never seen that before. Like most comic books, most TV shows, I always fall in love with the anti-heroes. I always fall in love with the flawed characters, you know. Yeah. The Rorschachs, the Punishers, like that's who I always fall in love with, the ones that go back and forth, that are conflicted. But Jon Snow, he doesn't seem conflicted. He's just been through a lot of pain, and still he remains strong. Jon Snow is if Superman had Batman's life, but somehow still remains Superman. Like you know, like he just stands strong. And so Stannis Baratheon burns Mance Rayder at the stake. He burns him. Is it Ryder or Raider, Sam? I want to say it's Raider.
It's Raider.
It is Raider. I apologize, everybody. He burns Mance Rayder, and before Mance Rayder has a chance to truly break down in pain, Snow puts an arrow through his heart, puts him out of his misery, and it was honorable. Jon Snow's a very honorable person. It's like Mance Rayder is not this horrible human being. I'm going to put him out of his misery. This is ridiculous. And a lot of people aren't happy about that. The Night's Watch aren't happy about it. Stannis isn't happy about it. But Jon Snow is Jon Snow. He's a good guy. He's such a good guy that there are enough people that he gets voted in as the new Lord Commander. Mm-hmm. But it was a close call. It was legit 51% to 49%. So there are a lot of enemies. There are a lot of people that don't like Jon Snow. Meanwhile, he loses his big gun. He loses his chief of staff. Sam leaves to become a Meister because the old Meister, he passes away, which I thought he was such an interesting character because you find out he was the older brother of the Mad King.
Yep.
I thought that was so interesting. Like so he passes away after being one of the people that voted for Jon Snow. And Sam leaves with Gilly to go be a Meister at the Citadel. And the only time I've heard them mention the Citadel before because it's they train Meisters there, but also I want to say I remember Oberyn Martell mentioning that he trained at the Citadel and learned about poison.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So meanwhile, everybody that's seen White Walkers know how bad they are and know that it works like a zombie horde. So Jon Snow's like, there are a lot of wildlings out there. We don't need this. Let's go rescue the wildlings. Pisses off even more of the Night's Watch. Like, I see where this is going. I'm like, man, they've only had mutiny once in this TV show, and it happened at the Night's Watch. So I have a bad feeling in my gut, but at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, they wouldn't kill Jon Snow. He's Jon Snow. This show is miserable. Anyway, Jon Snow dips out to the wall with Tormund. They go past the wall because they're gonna rescue wildlings. They're gonna bring them back inside the wall because a live person on their side is better than a zombie against them.
Yep.
They get to Hardhome.
Oh man.
I'm gonna take a sip for that one.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
Big sip for Hardhome because it goes absolutely down. It goes down. Like, real talk. It was like the end of the Source Awards. Because, so everyone's fighting because all the wildlings are trying to get to boats, and the Night's Watch people are dying, trying to help hold guard while all the wildlings get there. That ends up coming back to bite Jon Snow once again because it's like these are Night's Watch people dying for wildlings.
Yep.
Jon Snow is fighting a White Walker and suddenly cuts down a White Walker with his Valyrian steel sword. So up until this point in the show, the only thing we knew that stopped White Walkers was obsidian.
Yeah, the dragon glass.
Yes, was obsidian, dragon glass, but now Valyrian steel also stops them. It was a very epic moment. It was a very exciting moment. Unfortunately, all the dragon glass they had got lost to the White Walkers, and at the end, you have the Night King, and he's sitting there like with the Bane like pose, like, you think darkness is your ally? Like, it's like, what are you gonna do? Which, speaking of, oh my God, the actor that played Littlefinger was the first person that Bane killed in Dark Knight Rises.
That's right.
Yeah. I completely, like, I was randomly like rewatching stuff the other day, and I know, like, what? Like, oh my God! But like, it was that's just like, it's really funny. But like, that was crazy. A lot of the wildlings got away. Jon got away. His right hand man got back too. Gosh, Ed, is that his name? Ed?
Oh yeah, talking about the guy with the goatee.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got away, and so they're headed back to the Wall. More on that later. This was always going to end at the Wall. So before all that goes down, though, Stannis Baratheon is worried about not winning, and he's like, I'm gonna invade Winterfell and take that back. But Ramsay Bolton is sadistic because he goes through and cuts down a bunch of Stannis's men, and the Red Queen, the sorceress, she is like, hey, I know what you can do to secure your victory.
Oh my gosh. That might have been the second most despicable moment. Yeah.
He burned his daughter at the stake. The Onion Knight wasn't there. Like, he made sure to send the Onion Knight off somewhere else while all this went down. He burns his daughter at the stake. She screams, crying. She screams, crying. And it was absolutely gut-wrenching. Like, Sansa's rape made me sick to my stomach. Him burning his daughter literally made me tear up. Like, it was. I teach at a summer camp for kids every year. I've been doing it for the last like 10 years now. So like, I love kids. Like, when that happened, I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was absolutely heartbroken. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, oh my God. Like, you were with me. You were with me, Sam. Like, you saw me tear up. Like, my reaction is out there. Yeah, me crying at Game of Thrones is out there. Like, they're going to use that against me if I ever run for political office. Like, look, this man cried. Like, sickening. Like, yeah, like that. Like, it's there. It's there for everyone. Like, I cried. Man tears. Like, it was so bad.
I mean, but the thing is, like, she's the sweetest little girl. Like, of course, she's got this defect on her body and her skin, but she doesn't allow that to own her. Like, she is a good soul. She was a great soul. And for her mom and her dad to sit there and just let that happen.
Yeah. Like, she's like, yeah, I got a scar on my face, but you know what? Hooked on phonics. I'm going to teach the Onion Knight to read. Like, what? And it goes back to what I said in, like, season 1. Innocent people aren't fit for Westeros. Like, good human beings aren't fit for Westeros. And I felt that we'll get there, but at the very end of season 5, once again, I said that. This is a miserable show. Everyone should watch this miserable ass show. Every single person. Watch this miserable ass show.
Oh man, but I think it was even what made it so much more sadder is the fact that the mom, at a certain point, her maternal instincts kicked in.
Yeah,
and she was like, "No, like, we can't do this," and then they held her back. And Stannis just sat there and, anyway, thinking about it makes me mad.
Yeah. Stannis just sat there and watched. The guards stopped her, and in the very next episode, the wife hangs herself.
Yes, she did. Like, half of his troops left, and his wife hung herself.
Yeah, the wife hung herself. And at that point, half his troops dipped. It's like, okay, this man wants the Iron Throne so bad that he's going to kill his own daughter. We ain't about that life. We out here. Like, peace. I cannot blame them. I cannot blame them. And Stannis is setting himself up for a bad situation because the Boltons know that they're coming. And they're sitting there with their razors like, we about to flay them. That's what we do, baby. And that's exactly what happens. Stannis shows up with half his men. They try and storm Winterfell. They charge them, and they hold that 12th letter. They hold that 12th letter. Like, take the L. They held it high in the air like baby fucking Simba. They held it. They held that L. And meanwhile, because Sansa's not getting rescued by anybody, Brienne of Tarth is like, oh, snap. Hey, Stannis, I remember you. I ain't seen you since I saw your shadow. And guess what, bitch? It's Groundhog's Day. Brienne of Tarth lays it down, kills Stannis. And most Game of Thrones rules, if you don't see a character die, they're not actually dead. Not this time. Stannis is dead. Yeah. And the way he met death, like, Sam, did you notice, like, the look on his face, the way he met death, he was like, just do it.
Yeah.
I've done everything I can to win this. I've sacrificed people. I sacrificed my daughter. My wife committed suicide. I still lost. Half my men deserted me. The other half are dead. Just put me out of my misery. Like, that's the face that he had.
Yeah, that was definitely the look that he gave.
Yeah. He was just like, I think he said, do your duty.
Yeah, he did. That was his quote.
And yeah. And she did. And I didn't feel sorry for him because I'm like, oh, look, someone took out the garbage. Like, I felt nothing. I felt nothing when Stannis Baratheon died, except the fact that his daughter was an awesome character. Now, all during this, something good actually happened during this season. While all of this is taking place, and Ramsay's out being a bastard, Sansa and Theon escape.
Yep.
They push. They push. I cannot. God, I hate when I forget names.
About Ramsay's side chick?
Yeah, was it Miranda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's it. All right, they push her off the cliff, and she goes splat. Well, it wasn't a cliff; it was a wall. She goes splat. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh man, you're not the first person to fall off a wall in Winterfell. The other one didn't go splat. His legs just stopped working. Like that's the thing. Like that was my first thought. I was like, oh wow, she's about to be Lieutenant Dan too. But then it was like, oh no. She's actually dead. Like she went splat. Like yeah, one of them. Yeah. Like one of them Looney Tuned and came back in the next scene. The other one, done. And so, yeah, they escaped. And I'm like, is Theon again? Is he not Reek? Another time, I never thought I would feel sorry for a character. Yeah. Theon has been through it, though. He really has. He's literally been through it.
That's right, because he had to stay in the room when Sansa was going through her wedding night. He had to sit there and watch.
Yeah, and and people that have read the books, I have not read the books. I'm gonna do it in between the season 6 and 7 break. I'm planning on doing not 6 and 7, 7 and 8.
Yeah,
I'm planning on trying to reread the books after I catch up. But people have told me that scene in the book is even worse than how they depicted it in the show. Yeah.
I've heard that too.
But they escaped, and now they're on the run. Mm-hmm. They're on the run, so I'm excited about that because I'm like, thank God, Sansa's not in Winterfell anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much emotion felt in this show that when I would watch episodes, I would literally be like, man, maybe they'll show on something that doesn't completely tear me apart. And like, but that really didn't happen because even when you flash to Dorne, where Jaime and Bronn, King of Mercenaries, are, they get to Dorne, but the Sand Snakes and Ilaria are pissed because their dad's head went Cantaloupe Under Pressure last season. They're pissed off and they want to go to war with the Lannisters, which they're literally the only people that willingly want to go to war with the Lannisters after what happened to Robb Stark going to war with the Lannisters. And so they're pissed off, but the prince, the head prince of Dorne, Oberyn's older brother, is like, yo, we ain't going to war. I'm in a wheelchair. He volunteered as tribute. I can't kill nobody for that. And so they're pissed off. The sand snakes are absolutely pissed. Colleen Wing is a sand snake.
She is. I think she's the second oldest. She's the oldest or the middle.
I want that to be canon. I do. I really do. I really do. They get into a fight with Jaime and Bronn once Jaime and Bronn get to Dorne and knock off a couple soldiers and all that. I really love this scene where Jaime blocked a sword with his fake hand. I love that part. So I was waiting for that. I'm like, dude, you have a steel hand. That has to be usable. Like exactly. I want you to can you imagine I hope that before this whole series is over, I get to see a scene where Jaime Lannister pimp smacks a soldier with his metal hand and just knocks their whole face off. I want that to happen. That was a really cool scene to me when Jaime Lannister blocks a sword with his iron hand or gold hand. Lannisters are made of gold. It's gold. But then they get locked up. Bronn gets poisoned after looking at snake titties, and then he admits how much he liked the snake titties, so the snake gives him the cure. That was a little snippet, and I was like, wow, this seems really random until what happened next.
Exactly.
Until what happened next. Ilaria uses the exact same poison and lays Melina's kiss of death on Marcella. Yeah, Mortal Kombat reference. Wait, oh man, I think I just messed up. Was it Melina that did the kiss of death, or was that Sonya?
Melina is the one that has the teeth, right?
No, that's that is Melina.
Yeah.
Melina does the teeth.
Yeah.
I think it was either Katana or Sonya that had the kiss of death.
It's probably Katana.
Sorry, guys.
But anywho,
can't be a 100% nerd all the time. I screwed up. I'm holding that 12th letter, just like so many characters in Game of Thrones. L.
I can't.
But anyway, she lays the kiss on Marcella. Marcella and Jaime are on the boat on their way back to King's Landing. And Jaime's like, by the way, Marcella, I'm your uncle dad. I'm your uncle, but I'm also your dad. Is that weird? And she's like, actually, I've always kind of known, which that's a weird connection. That's a weird family reunion. Oh, it's Uncle Jaime. By the way, I've always known you were my dad, even though no one told me. I just assumed based on my blonde hair. That's fucking weird. God, Game of Thrones, what the hell am I watching?
It doesn't get any easier.
No, right? And then all of a sudden, she starts bleeding from her eyes. I haven't seen that since last season, episode 2, when Joffrey died, bleeding from his eyes. And I'm like, yo, we 66.6 continuing % dead right now as far as Cersei and Jaime's kids go. We have one left.
Yep.
You have one left. So that was rough. And then they flashed to Braavos some during season 5. basically what you need to know from Braavos. Arya's training to be Batman. She gets a contract hit, and she's like, I'm going to do it because I'm training to be Batman. But then she sees Meereen Trent, who's a piece of shit who likes beating little kids, even though they didn't do nothing. And she kills Meereen Trent. She stabs him so many times. She stabs him more than, I haven't gotten to that part in the interview, but Jon Snow. But anyway, she stabs Meereen Trent a whole lot. He dies. She's like, by the way, I'm Arya Stark, even though I'm not supposed to have a name. Ra's al Ghul is pissed at her, and then she goes blind. That was all there was to her. That was all there was to her. Like I said, and like this is so much. Sam, how long have we been going? I don't see a timer.
Shoot, I don't even see a timer. We've been going for about 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay, we've been going 40 minutes, and we still have not even touched on what's going on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on with Dany? What's going on with Dany? Like, we haven't even touched on that. Because Dany, first off, she can't control her people because they want the fighting pits back. Daria wants the fighting pits back. And there's this new crew called the Sons of Harpy that are just killing people because for some reason the Unsullied want to go to brothels. Dicks or not. It is what it is. What? I don't really know. Like, I don't really know. Like, I ain't have no dick. Last place I'd want to go is a strip club, but whatever. To each their own. YOLO swag, 420 blaze it. Also on the east side, Tyrion, who we haven't seen since he wiped out the upper branch of his family tree, is somehow even more of an alcoholic after all of this.
Yeah, he got in heavy with it.
Sam, let me ask you a question. Who do you think's more of an alcoholic, Tyrion or Cersei? Because I don't know if I've ever seen Cersei without wine if she wasn't in a jail cell.
I think that Tyrion, just because she controls it a lot better. Like, she's that alcoholic from Archer, the mom from Archer. That's who she is. But
Ooh,
Tyrion...
Okay. Lucille Bluth. I got you. Yeah.
I think that Tyrion at this point, he's kind of lost himself. He lost a lot, though. To be fair, he lost his people. He lost his dad. He killed his dad. Killed his girl that he loved. Like, he lost a lot. And he got a scar on his face.
I mean, we can say he lost a lot, but he did it, though. And they had it coming.
They did.
They had it coming. Like, seriously, like when I watched that episode of Game of Thrones and I'm straight Chicago. Like, I'm sitting there. He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. Like, the whole time, that's my feeling of it. Like, when he choked out Shay, I'm like, that's exactly. Don't look her in the eye. Don't look her in the eye. Like, I'm sitting there like humming Hit 'Em Up by Tupac. Like, it feels good to me. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, he can't really control it. Can't really control it, but at the same time, Beretta did that shit. Like, you know, like it happened. That actually went down.
She did it to herself. They both did it to themselves. Anyway.
But Tyrion's in a brothel because Tyrion's good at being in brothels, and he gets kidnapped by who else? King of the Phantom Zone after being banished from the Friend Zone because everything is titles in Game of Thrones, Jorah. Jorah finds Tyrion and is like, oh snap, this is my chance. I'm going to break back into the Friend Zone from the Phantom Zone that I've been banished to. Kidnaps Tyrion. All along, can we talk about how there's a missing dragon? Like, there's still a dragon just out there flying around. We haven't seen him. We see him in one episode because Jorah and Tyrion have to fight off like a band of wild killer crocs. And then after that, before that, they see like a dragon just nonchalantly fly by. Jorah's not surprised. Tyrion is like, okay. All right. Haven't seen that since the Mighty Max commercial. But okay. That's cool, I guess. Jorah and Tyrion get taken by slaves after Jorah gets like kind of tough. Wait, oh man, I think I might be getting ahead of myself because no, I'm right. Yeah. Jorah and Tyrion get taken by slaves by none other than the actor that actually played Killer Croc.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And then Jorah, and then like Tyrion, God, that dude can talk his way out of anything. Anything. Like, sis, dude just talks his way out of everything. And gets to the point where he's like, yo, I'm Jorah's hype man. Flav. Like, just does it. And Jorah starts fighting his way back out of the friend zone somehow because he finally sees Dany and it's like, okay, I'm going to keep on fighting. And then, Lord have mercy, episode 9. Oh, my God. It goes down at the arena. Shit goes down at the arena. Jorah's in the fighting pit. He's fighting. He's like, I don't care if I die. As long as Queen Dany sees me, I'm here for you, girl. I am here for you. I am here for you. Like, this is everything. He's killing everybody. He finishes killing people. And then all of a sudden, he chucks the spear at them.
Yep.
I clutch my pearls. Oh, no. Not like this. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Not like this. It hits one of the sons of the Harpy. The villains. They were sneaking up on Dario, Queen Dany, Tyrion, sneaking up on all of them. They didn't even see it coming. But Jorah did. You know why? Because he's that dude. He's that dude. Ladies, the boy in your friend zone, he the one y'all need to be with. Bless up. I don't pour some for my homies, but I'm gonna drink some for my boys in the friend zone. Represent. I'm sorry, Sam. I haven't given you a chance to do any talking. I've just been on a rant.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
Because the reality is when all that was going down, like I was like, what is going on? Like, why would Drogon leave? And it brought me to this understanding that Daenerys was trying to appease to be able to leave. Yeah. And that's not who she is. Like, she can't appease everybody. Like, she's gonna have to give people hand out some L's to people and
fire and fury.
And the dragon was like, you're not acting like, you're the blood of the dragon. Like, you need to act like my mom, not like. And it was
Sam, that was one of the most epic moments in the show. Because I don't know if you noticed, like, Drogon threw out a ball of fire and then flew through it. Like if you look at the scene, there's a ball of flames and then Drogon flies through it and like comes out like Bill Goldberg, Monday Night Nitro, the streak continues, I'm still here, Jackhammer is about to go down, lands, burns the hell out of a bunch of immortals. That's why I still call the Sons of Harpy immortals, because every time I see their mask, like all I can think about are the immortals from 300. Lays waste to them. Dany's like, hey guys, I know you thought we were all going home together, but my Uber's here. Jumps on Drogon, rolls out. rolls out, like legit, like she's gone. Bump, 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 dun, 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 bump, 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 bump. And one of my favorite scenes in the series, and one of the only times I've literally matched up with the character. They show on Tyrion's face when Daenerys is riding off on a dragon, and he has this face of, I literally can't even right now. And that was how I felt. That was like, I felt that because I'm like, yeah, right, Tyrion? Like we thought everything was like House of Cards level, but we Dungeons and Dragons out here. Like, what? Like that's like if you're watching CNN one day, and it's like, oh wow, what's gonna happen next? And you're thinking to yourself, obviously riot police are gonna show up to break this thing up. No. A dragon is gonna show up, set people on fire, and then the person with the biggest sign is gonna ride off into the sunset. Like and that's the look that Peter Dinklage had when all of that happened. Like, okay, that's not what I would have bet on at all. At all. Like, there's a girl riding a dragon. If she's not meant to rule Westeros, no one is.
Fact.
Right? Like, his face was Emmy-worthy. Like, his jaw, like, the way it hit the floor, it was like, are you really? Like, are you kidding me? Like, it was such an amazing moment. And then it all ended because Khaleesi landed, and then all of a sudden, throwback to season 1, here come the Dothraki, and they take her again.
Yep.
Another one. Dothraki, I didn't even know they rolled on grass that green. Like, normally you see the Dothraki, they're in the middle of the desert. Like, they're in like a place that sucks. But then, like, they are getting taken by, like, she gets taken by the Dothraki. Again, she takes her ring off, throws it on the ground, like, hey, that'll be a clue. And gets taken again. Jorah and Dario set out to find her. One of them is smashing in the friend zone. The other one's trying to climb its way back into the friend zone. So we legit have quite the dynamic duo.
They are.
Out to try and find her. Jorah's sick, though, because he got touched by one of the killer crocs. So he's got, like, the crud on his arm. And now I'm like, well, damn, that's going to be a horrible, sad death. This show sucks. Everything about this show sucks. How could this show suck anymore? And then we get taken back to Winterfell, where Jon Snow has returned. Mm-hmm. And then there's a happy moment because Jon Snow's squire comes in. He's like, guess what? Your uncle's back. And I'm like, oh shit, his uncle's back. That is awesome. I'm so excited. This is gonna be lit. The uncle is back. He's alive. Finally, at least this show will end on a happy note. That's what I deserve as a subscriber to HBO. That's what I deserve. I get to earn this. George R.R. Martin walks out. He sees Traitor on a tree. He sees it. I see it. And I'm like, oh no. He turns around and gets stabbed by the dude that hated him the most. Thorne. Is that his name, Sam? That's Thorne, right?
Yes.
Thorne.
I think that was his name.
And has the nerve to yell for the watch as he stabbed the Lord Commander. Stabs him. For the watch. And then the next one comes up. For the watch. And then the next one comes up. For the watch. Like, it's like when you open a pack of Dunkaroos and you're like, well, I have to dip every one in the icing before I eat it. Like, for the watch. For the watch. for the watch. And then last but not least, his own squire, Ollie, rolls up for the watch. Him and his damn crocodile tears. And stabs Jon Snow in the heart.
Yeah.
Everyone out there watching this right now and watching this in the future, if you type my name in, Keeden, you can find my reaction to season 5, episode 10. I was not happy about it.
He wasn't at all.
I was not happy. I was not happy. I wanted to be done with the show until these people talked me into watching season 6. They were like, Keaton, just give us 2 episodes of season 6. And I was like, okay, I will. And I did. And okay, I get it. But seriously, I would have been one of those people that gave up on it after season 5 because I felt so miserable. Because season 5 gave me nothing that I wanted. An adorable girl got burned alive after teaching Hooked on Phonics. A confused redhead got raped. And a good human being got killed for being a good human being.
Yep.
This show is miserable. Why would anyone do this to yourselves? This is going to fuck up statistics later on when people do heart disease statistics in 30 years. Complete trash. Complete trash statistics. Just skip it.
Oh my goodness. So it's the good news is, you guys, that Keaton decided to continue the watch. He continued to stay the course. It wasn't easy for him because he looked at the first episode and he was like, why are you guys torturing me, rubbing salt in my wounds? But we'll get into that more later on, and he's now continuously watching in the 6th season, so you don't have to worry about him stopping. That's the good news. But
I'm here to stay now.
I mean, I'll say this, and I know you've heard me say it before, and you asked me a time and time again, but it doesn't get any better, Keaton. Everything that you've already experienced, it doesn't get any better.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. At least I'm at the point now where people are saying it doesn't get any better, because hearing people say it gets worse is scary. Because I don't know what I would do if someone said, like, after watching an innocent little girl get burned at the stake, if someone was to tell me, just wait, it gets worse. Like, what? How? Children got raped, children got burned at the stake, and yet you're telling me it gets worse. Okay, I don't know if I want to go any worse than this.
Somebody wrote, it only gets worse, my friend. I'm not gonna say that, but it doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better.
But I mean, I tell you, like, this was easily the darkest season that I've ever watched, because, like, a lot of seasons it ends on a, man, I can't wait for the next season. That was crazy. Like, they might have killed off someone, but it wasn't like, and it might have hurt, but they left you looking forward to something. At the end of this, one of the few innocent Lannisters is dead. The most innocent of the Starks is dead. The other Starks are, like, didn't even appear in the season at all.
No.
The other Stark is becoming Batman, but except she's not, because she's blind now. Another Stark got raped, and she's on the run in snow with the person with no dick. A dragon showed up, and that was awesome till Dany ended up getting kidnapped by the people that like she got sold to and married off to in the first place. Like, everything, like, this season ended absolutely miserable. Like absolutely miserable. It was horrible.
Oh man, this is gonna be some interesting comments in the chat. And I'm gonna filter.
Yeah. I tell you, like, I'm not gonna lie, like my favorite part of all these is like when people ask me questions. Like I love that like people have gotten into how far behind I am on the times. Like,
Yeah.
I tell you.
So I guess this kind of, you've gone through pretty much everything about your input on the season. We can go ahead to the Q&A part, and not too many questions, a lot of statements, but it's not too many questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to start laying out. I think a few of them you already asked. So shout out to Elite James. He asked, how do you feel about Stannis Baratheon's death? I think you already said what you felt about it, but you can go into a little bit more detail if you want.
So yeah, I throughout the show, I felt for Stannis because he got the loot. He really did. Like he really trusted that sorceress for 100% of everything, because up until that moment, everything she said had come true. It's like, oh, you need to kill your brother. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. And he kept trusting her despite the fact that it seemed skeptical. Like he killed his brother. And then he got his ass kicked with the wildfire. And then he burned his daughter at the stake. And then he lost again. And then his wife hung herself. Like he kept taking these L's because he believed so strongly in this religion. I could go so deep into this, but I'm not gonna. But I felt for him because it's a thing that we've all seen.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, he was in this place where it was just like, just kill me. Just kill me already.
Yeah.
Like he welcomed death the same way that we were all feeling. The same way that I felt. I was just like, please die. Please die at this point. You've killed your daughter. Your wife has killed herself. Your people have left you. Your people are dead. And at this point, you won't really be remembered because there's no one around. Just take death. Because you fucked up the most when you did this. Like all the bad deeds you've done to try and win, it ended with the other person still getting checkmate. And you deserve it. Yeah, so I didn't feel bad for Stannis Baratheon as much as I did. As much as it was like more of a thing where it was like, you should have known better. Like, come on, man, that was your daughter.
Yeah, it was like, that was unforgivable.
Yeah.
Unforgivable. Another question from Elite James is also your thoughts of the Night's Watch betraying Jon and killing him. I think I've already expressed that, but do you have a closing thought on it real quick?
I saw it coming all season because the thing about the Night's Watch that's interesting is it's composed of thieves and traitors and rapists and criminals. Like the Night's Watch isn't made up of a bunch of Captain Americas. It really isn't. But it's made up of, but it's led by a Captain America. It's Captain America leading a bunch of criminals. Like if Captain America was in charge of the Suicide Squad, how would it end if they didn't all have bombs in their head? Like that's how I felt watching it. And Jon Snow is this very interesting character. Because he's the one person that's straightforward and clear in a world of dynamic flim-flam people.
Yeah.
And like, I was in shock that the show was like, yeah, we're going to kill Jon Snow. We're going to break your heart that much. I was in shock by that, but I wasn't as in shock by the Night's Watch, because the Night's Watch hated Jon Snow by this point. Like, the one thing they've stood for was, hey, look, we built this wall. No wildlings allowed. And Jon Snow was like, actually, there's zombies out there. Let's let the wildlings in. Like, he broke the one rule. He broke the one rule. Like, the Continental has a couple rules, and John Wick broke all of them. Like, he did that. He did do that. And the Night's Watch does stand for that. But what I was more shocked by was that the show was like, actually, yeah, we're going to show the repercussions. We'll kill Jon Snow. Like, I was thinking that they were going to, like, Deus Ex Machina out of it, and there was going to be some random ass miracle, and the Night's Watch was just going to jump behind Jon Snow, and everything was great and beautiful because it's Jon Snow. But the people that did the show didn't do that. They were like, actually, no. Actually, no. The Night's Watch are going to turn on him, stab him 30 times, and he's going to die. Fade to black. And so, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that, but I wasn't shocked by what the Night's Watch reaction was going to be, because the entire show, he's been pissing off the Night's Watch. And it's like, I know where that leads. How are they going to figure out a way that that doesn't happen? And they didn't do it.
Yeah. Okay, so we got 3 final questions. I got a final question from somebody just now. Grigro Marti, I think that's how to pronounce the last name. What did you think of the Sand Snake storyline? In my opinion, it's nowhere near as bad as people say.
I don't think the Sand Snake's storyline was bad at all, because I mean, I guess the thing is, like, you think about their standpoint, they get a note saying their dad's head got crushed by a giant in King's Landing. They probably stopped reading after that. They didn't, I mean, who cares about the reasonings? Who cares that he volunteered? Who cares that it was for this reason? Who cares who was on trial? Wait, my dad got killed by someone hired by the Lannisters after we heard about how our aunt got killed by someone hired by the Lannisters. And so I understand, like, where the Sand Snakes are coming from. Like, fuck these people. Like, these are horrible people. We should roll out on them and kill them all. I didn't think the storyline was bad. I did think a couple parts were ridiculous, because I was just like, I'm like, okay, so people are attacking Dorne. They get locked up, and then one of the Sand Snakes, like, pulls out her titties and shows them to the attackers that they just fought against. Like, that felt ridiculous and forced. Like, it felt like one of those things, like, wow, like HBO was like, man, it's been 4 episodes since the last time we showed titties. It's about time we showed them again. Like, that's what it felt like, because it didn't make sense, like, the way they did all of that. But I like the fact that they're showing on the Sand Snakes and Oberyn's widow, because there's blowback. It's one of the things I appreciate about Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, like, whenever they kill off a major character, whenever a character is killed off, they always show the repercussions. There's so many shows that don't do that, you know? Walking Dead will give you a pregnant woman, and she has the baby, and then they'll kill them off for no reason. And the only reason is because, hey, look, guys. And then the audience is miserable, and there's no repercussions, because you can't get revenge on a zombie. In Westeros, in the Game of Thrones universe, deaths mean something.
Yeah.
Not all deaths, but a lot of the deaths mean something. They have repercussions. The next season comes around and it's like, wait, oh snap, he had relatives. Oh snap, there was a lover. Oh snap, that was someone's dad. Oh snap, that was someone's son. Like, there's always repercussions in Game of Thrones. And so I love the way that when they do something, it's like, hey, it's going to have meaning later. Because the whole time, like after Oberyn died in season 4, when I was watching season 5, I watched the openings every time and I'm like, I'm waiting for them to show Dorne. Waiting for them to show, like, I'm waiting for them to show the city rising and for them to show Dorne, because I knew it was coming. I knew there was going to be blowback after a prince just got his head crushed by someone hired by the Lannisters. And so I loved that storyline. I loved it because that's realistic. That's very realistic. It's realistic and it makes sense. Like, oh wow, you just killed our prince. We don't care. I would have been pissed if they had done that. If they had done that and said, oh, we don't care. Yeah. Like, I would have been pissed.
Yeah. All right. Going up on our last 2 questions. Same person. They said, I can tell that Keeden's favorite character is Jon Snow, but who does he hate the most?
That's a good one. Well, I guess. Well, honestly, you know, I always normally stray from the obvious, but like this time it wasn't the obvious. Ramsay Bolton, like he raped someone. Like that is the most sickening, disgusting, like putrid thing I have ever, like, I cannot, like, I was so disgusted and I hated it so much. And I've like, and it's so bad because this show was years before like I ever even started watching it. But I feel like in the past reviews when I rewatch them and like look at it, I feel like I dared someone to one up Joffrey, and they did it.
They did.
And they did it, and I was absolutely disgusted by it. And so, yeah, Ramsay Bolton. And as long as he's on the show, I hate that piece of shit. Like, I hate him so much. He is trash beyond trash. And I easily hate Ramsay Bolton more than anybody. Yeah, Ramsay by the biggest of landslides, by the Eurasia continental landslide, Ramsay Bolton. Like, second place is so far away that it doesn't even matter. I hate Ramsay Bolton the most. Easy.
And I'm right there with them, you guys, if you didn't know. The last question is from Rhythmic Reflections. His question was, where do you see Arya's arc going after season 5?
You say the person that asked that was Rhythmic Reflections?
Yeah.
That's cool. God, I'm about to go on a side thing right now. I love Gundam Wing and Rhythmic Reflection. So there was a song in Gundam Wing called Rhythm Emotions, and there was a song in Endless Waltz called White Reflection. And so when he said that, like, it made me think of Gundam Wing. So like as soon as you said the name, like I randomly thought of Gundam Wing, like as soon as you said the name. I did. Like, oh my God. I'm so weird. I'm such a weirdo. I apologize, guys. But Arya, like, I was so happy that she went off the grid and killed Trant. I was so happy. But then when the Men Without Faces, like, got hold of that and blinded her, it was another thing that I kind of saw coming. Like this season featured a lot of cults. Like, and I throw them right into the midst of cults. Like, oh, a man has no face, a girl has no face. This is what we represent. This is what we do. And I was upset at the fact that she got blinded. But after she killed Trent, I was wondering what the next step was going to be. So I wasn't really shocked when they pulled the trigger and said, hey, look, she's blind. Because when they do stuff like that, I was thinking to myself, oh, she didn't get them gouged out. So if a person can make someone blind, a person can make someone not blind. And so I wasn't worried as much as I was, oh, wow, she's in detention until further notice. And like, yeah, and so like that was one of those moments where it just made me reflect, like, where is everybody in this show? Because as far as like Arya goes, like she got out of jail pretty easily. Like she just went blind. Everybody else got raped or killed. Said that with a smile. That's what this show does.
It does. So I think it was around the end of the 5th season or the 6th season. I said to somebody, I was like, this show allows me to just accept violence and brutality as a normality.
Right?
Like it's not even like, okay, you know, this person might have it coming. Oh man, this person did something terrible. No, I know that the people that do the best, that are the best people, they're gonna die. They're gonna suffer,
yeah.
And then the other people are gonna get to come up, but there's not any real ramifications statistically based on the show. You know, and it messes you up psychologically because, like, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of messed up things that we just allow, and we don't not stop watching the show because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think this season was the defining moment for that.
Yeah, and I'll backtrack a bit, like what I was saying before, like because I'm not gonna lie, I quit watching Walking Dead because I felt like all it did was like throw me more misery. But this is one of those shows that throws me equal amounts of misery, but it's for a reason, so I stick with it. Now, at the end of this season, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, everybody had to talk me into keep going to keep going with season 6 because I was distraught. I was like, Sansa got raped, Arya's blind, Jon Snow's dead. This sucks. Like literally everything sucks. There's no reason to keep watching this show. The good Lannisters are either like in the desert trying to keep a kingdom together or dead or spineless. Like there was nothing about this show at this point. Like at the end of season 5, it felt like The Walking Dead. Like it was just like, hey guys, enjoy this misery for the next year. And I'm like, how about I don't and start The Wire finally like people have been telling me. But just so happened there were literally like 6 people in the room like, Keaton, you have to watch season 6. Please watch season 6. At least give us 2 episodes of season 6. After that, we won't ask any more of you. Like, fine, I'll do season 6. I'll even do a review of the 2nd episode of season 6. As long as y'all leave me alone and let me watch The Wire after I watch season 6, episode 2. And since then, I have watched season 6, episode 2. And I'm back on the bandwagon. I'll save that for the next season review. I will. But at the same time, I'm mad because this show is still miserable. That girl did not need to die at the stake. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, what is... Damn.
So, these are just from you guys, some of the statements that you guys have made. I picked out a few of them. I'm just going to tell Keaton because Keaton is not going to be in the chat at any points because we want to make sure we filter any kind of spoilers. So anybody that knows for a fact that you're talking about stuff from season 7 or season 6, please leave that away from the chat. But if you leave something from the season that he's in now, I might be able to reiterate that back to him. So the first one comes from Elite James. Oh, yep. I remember season 5. crazy. Grigo Marti said, I felt bad first, but once the first person threw that piece of crap at her, I couldn't stop laughing. Dang.
Damn.
That's terrible. Gregor Marti has another comment. That scene, I started playing on my phone till it was over. I skipped over somebody else's death too. He's talking about Sansa's rape scene.
Yeah.
He said it. He was like he got on his phone and just like,
If
no.
someone had told me that happened and when it happened, I would have skipped over it. I would have. Like, that was, I had no, like, I was sickened. I was sickened by it. Like, I could not, like really, I was really, really sickened by it. Like, Game of Thrones really pushed my line really far. And it's one of, like, I look back on that, and you know how when you have a moment and you say to someone, hey, yeah, this happened, but I swear to you it will never happen again, otherwise I'm giving up. Like, that's how I almost felt about that moment in the show, because it was so disgusting and sickening that I had that moment where I was like, I don't need this. This is disgusting. The world is terrible as is. I don't need it on a TV show. You know, like, that's how I felt.
No, I mean, I think that's an understanding thing, especially if you didn't have any, clear understanding of what's going to happen next. Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel bad for those that were watching the show and have to wait a year after the fact, because in between that time, I might would have stopped. If I hadn't been binge watching when I did, I probably would have legitimately stopped.
Yeah.
But next statement comes from Ramon Carter. He is always on these, so shout out to Ramon. If Rob would have married Rosalind Frey, would have changed a lot of things. I have to chime in on this one. I think that if he had of, there still would have been that betrayal from a Lannister. Lannisters not only pay their debts, they pay off people to off people. And I think, that would have stopped like one casualty of one war, but I don't think that it would have stopped too much, personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Because Roose Bolton would have still been Roose Bolton. And I mean, we saw how Walder Frey felt about his own wife. He got like 30 daughters, so he wouldn't have even cared about that either. I think it still would have went down regardless.
Yeah. Like, I just really feel like it would too. Let's see what else we got. I can't read that one. It's way too much language. Ramon Carter says season 6 will end on a high note, which I guess, depending on how you look at it, that might be true. Elite James L. I want to see his reactions to season 7 immediately.
They'll be there.
Someone wrote, wow, well, he needs to see the show Misfits now. And I've said this to Keaton, you guys, that the guy that plays Ramsay Bolton also plays a character on the Misfits who's totally opposite, who's an endearing, awesome character. And the show is just really good. It's only on Hulu, but I think you can probably look at the other places now. But yeah, Keaton, you definitely got to watch the Misfits whenever you get done. Have some free time. It's really good.
Okay. Will do. Absolutely. I'll put it on my list.
Let's see. Ramon Carter wrote, I wonder if he has a theory on the Tower of Joy flashback from season 6. I know you're at that point, but just keep that in the back of your pocket.
Which one is this?
So it's a flashback of young Ned. But it's
yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll make sure to touch on that. Yeah. So I have my theory on a lot of, all right. So I have a theory regarding some of the Targaryens, some Ned Stark's sister. Like I have a theory just based on what they've told me so far doesn't match up with some of the actions committed. And also Jon Snow. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Please do not spoil it for me if they've gotten to that point in the show. I beg of all of you, please don't spoil it for me. Because I legit have theories of what is going on. And I don't want it spoiled for me.
Yeah. So, let's see. Got two more. No, it's just one more. This is just from Tech Anime. He says, "Sup, Keaton?" And so that's the last one.
What?
He says, "Sup, Keaton?" So everybody else is kind of pretty much saying a lot of other stuff, but generally everybody has been saying they really have enjoyed your reactions, and they can't wait for you what you're gonna think about this specific episode of season 6 or season 7. So,
I tell you, I have been loving all of this. Like my favorite, like I'm not gonna lie, it's like there's so many people that love this show so much, and now that I've started watching it, like watching it and you guys rewatching it with me has been the best thing ever, because I see like everyone's like love for this show. Like the love that I have for this show spans literally 2 months. The love that you guys have for this show spans several years. Like y'all have given so much to it and have so much love for it. And I love when I get your feedback and your opinions and just like, Keaton, what do you think? Like I have loved like the way people have like brought me into this Game of Thrones community. Like I do. And I can't wait to watch the last season with everyone. Like a year and a half. I can't remember how long they said it's going to be.
Yeah, you're going to be caught up sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the final comment, final Q&A session. And you got any closing thoughts on season 5 before we dip out?
It was miserable. It was absolutely miserable. It was everything I didn't want it to be. Absolute gut-wrenching. But I'm hoping season 6 is going to be redeeming. And I've started season 6, and it started off a little bit redeeming. So we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot thank y'all enough for all of the positive vibes, all of the comments, telling me what to react on, telling me your opinions. I've been loving it. I really have, and y'all have been showing me so much love, and I appreciate it.
Well, we love you, Keaton, and everything you've been working on, man. It's been great, and especially with you going between medical school and trying to do this, like you are beyond an asset to JVS. So I really appreciate you for taking the time to do this tonight. And so we have to go. Hope you guys have enjoyed this reaction / review by Keaton. And if you go to the description bar below, you can check out his reaction to season 6, episode 2. And hope you all enjoy that. And we'll be back later. Peace, everybody.
Sure.